What is the Chabad approach to Zionism in Eretz Yisrael?
I'll just say the point that's relevant now. And the point is that there's two concepts. There's ideology, there's hashkafa, and then there's pragmatism, there's what's practical. And the Rabbeim see room and need to separate between those two things. In other words, if somebody does something and their motivations are wrong, and maybe not only are their motivations wrong, but what they did is also wrong. But post facto, after the fact, what they did is done. So someone did something with a bad motivation for the wrong reasons. And maybe they did the wrong thing. But because someone did something for the wrong reasons and did something wrong, to dissociate from what they accomplished may be a mistake. Why? Because in what they accomplished, number one, there's opportunity. And number two, there is a very separate question of what's right and wrong. The ideology of Zionism, we don't agree with at all. On many scores, many different accounts. The only place in published Chabad literature that explicitly reveals the position of our Rabbeim is in the introduction to the contention of Machon, which was published in 1942 in New York. Our Rebbe were very particular not to include in their publications so much correspondence and conversation that went on behind the scenes and even not behind the scenes over the years about their positions on Zionism. The ideology of Zionism is nationalism, Jewish nationalism, but it is, for whatever reason, anti-God. That somehow nationalism is in contradiction to religion. They can't have both together. Nationalism takes the place of Yiddishkeit. And of course, Arabim couldn't support that. They're very against it. And we're still against it. The so-called modern state of Israel, which the Rebbe never ever identifies as Medinas Yisrael, but only as Eretz Yisrael and Eretz HaKodesh, which is not something which we got in 1947 or 48 because the United Nations gave it to us and so on. But it's a Nachlas Oves that goes back to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and it was given to us by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when the world allowed us to settle there, we were simply coming back to our ancient homeland. Is an interface between two things. A group of people motivated to create a Jewish state whose ideology was wrong, and maybe even their efforts at establishing the state, of taking the land, as some people say, because of the Drush Gimel Shvuas, was also wrong. But after the fact, Eretz Yisrael actually exists. So the question becomes, should you oppose Eretz Yisrael because you don't agree with the Shita of Zionism? And they had a film once where they showed an interview where one of Reb Shalom Posner, or Reb Shalom's sons, recalls how his father came to New York in 1948 and he asked the Rebbe, who was then called the Ramash, what is our position now that Eretz Yisrael became a state? So what does Lubavitch hold today? Everybody knew that Lubavitch was very outspokenly opposed to Zionism. And the Rebbe said that if anybody in the world would make a place where Jewish people had self-governance and could protect themselves, especially so close to the Holocaust, you have to support it. You're not supporting it on religious grounds. You're not supporting it on ideological grounds. You're supporting it on practical grounds. It's available, and it's safe, and it's good. And not to see the good in that is foolish. And moreover, it's an opportunity to insist that Jewish people living together in a Jewish state, particularly since that Jewish state happens to be Eretz Yisrael, Eretz HaKodesh, to push as much as possible that that land should be lived according to Darkei HaTorah VaMitzvah, according to the principles of Yiddishkeit and Torah mitzvahs. So the position of the Rabbeim, as it relates to today, is we're not Zionists ideologically. I wonder if there are any Zionists left. We don't believe in Jewish nationalism. We don't believe that the whole religion comes down to Aliyah. There's 613 mitzvahs in the Torah, and one of them, according to the Ramban, is Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. And if we could live in Eretz Yisrael, we must live in Eretz Yisrael. We certainly have to support Eretz Yisrael. But Eretz Yisrael, first of all, is a place which gives Jewish people an opportunity to be safe. And second of all, in those walls, we have to do everything in our power to make that state as Yiddish and as consistent with the Torah as possible. notwithstanding that some people's philosophy about why that land exists and what is the definition of that land is not consistent with Torah.